And Johnson wins it at the death for Tottenham to send them into the top four, to keep their title hopes alive. And it looked dead, it looked lost, and it looked finished. But a massive 3 points for Tottenham. And Liverpool, they respond as well after City go top. They put 3 quality goals past Burnley, who themselves had opportunities in that game. But another ruthless, relentless, deadly performance from Liverpool. This title race is the best we've seen in years. There is no top 4 race. There is purely a title race. Now, you may be 4th favourites or 5th favourites, but there is no top 4 race. Everybody that's going to finish in the Champions League this season, is currently in a position to be able to win this Premier League title. Now, we all have Manchester City as the favourites, but that does not suddenly redefine what a title race is. What an afternoon of Premier League football that we have just witnessed. We're going to be delving into both the Spurs and the Liverpool games for you today with, again, both sets of fans, obviously, jubilant and excited and over the moon with what their teams have done, of course, for very different reasons today. But starting with Tottenham, I have to start with Tottenham due to the way in which they won that game. It was just, they went a goal down. Look, Brighton started the game well. Brighton with a better team. They get their goal. They deserved it. And then Spurs, I want to make sure I say this in the right way. Like, they came alive. Brighton, after that, they were giving the ball away in cheap areas. They had a few chances on the counter-attack, and they weren't clinical. But Spurs were having one of those days where it looked as though they ran themselves into the ground. They got their equaliser from Sarr, who was excellent today. And then for the next 20-plus minutes, it was all Brighton, really. And you look at it and just thought, really, is this the ending to the game that Tottenham are going to deliver? Is this really it? And it was really in the last, even the injury time, you saw the nerves creeping in with the amount of goals they've conceded at that time. It was Brighton that suddenly had the blood in their legs, the energy in their legs, and they were really going for it. And I watched it and thought to myself, really, Spurs, after having the majority of the play, for being the dominant team, for being the aggressor, getting yourself back into the game, are you really going to let 3 points slip through your fingers in this way? You know what rivals are going to say. They're going to say it's Spursy. They're going to condemn you. They're going to come for you. But then, with quite literally the last play, the last kick of the game, the pace on that left-hand side from Son, the ball put across to Johnson, who has been, for many, rightfully criticized for many a time now by Spurs fans. He comes up with an all-important winner, which, as you can see with the league table, puts them in 4th. They'll be wanting a little bit of a favour tomorrow now from Manchester United, and a win, or maybe a draw really in that game would suit them probably best. But it puts them firmly into the top 4. And look, they are a few wins away. They need Liverpool to lose a few games, but they're there just on the shoulder, just slightly far enough away where everyone's going to write them off. But in a very comfortable position now, Tottenham, where they've just got to take each game as it comes, keep picking up and trying to pick up those wins, and they're there or thereabouts. They were only 2 points behind Arsenal, who are in the title race. They're only 5 points behind Manchester City, who are the outright favourites. Now, for me, they're on the edge of this title race because there's at least 3 teams that are seen as more likely to win it than them. But what a season they are having. 15 wins in this campaign. To put that into context, Liverpool have 16 wins. They've won a lot of football matches, and they should be congratulated for that. And Ball here says stop. Again, I'm not going to stop and change the definition of a title race. I'm not going to suddenly change the definition of a title race because it upsets people. I can't do it. I won't do it. It's never going to happen. We can't start rewriting what a title race means. And a title race is when you have a mathematical, not just you have to have a mathematical chance of winning the league, but it's also when there's logic behind it. And there is a logical chance that Spurs could do it, but it's a slim one, absolute slim one. But like I've said all along, they're not in a top 4 race. They're on the edge of a title race, but therefore they're not in a top 4 race, in my humble opinion. You could argue that Villa are, but Villa win tomorrow. They go 1 point behind Arsenal. They're all in that same boat. There's 5 teams that are trying to win the Premier League. So it circumvents there being a top 4 race. It's as simple as that for me. And Spurs and Villa are within that. They truly, truly are. Now, look, when it comes to Liverpool, I want to speak on them this afternoon because this Liverpool team has got its flaws, but they frustrate the living daylights out of me. In fact, this Liverpool team make me sick. And I say that from a perspective of jealousy. I say that from a position of dislike for the football club that is my biggest rival as a Man United fan. They gave up opportunities today where Burnley could have took the lead. Burnley could have equalized. Burnley could have gone ahead 3-2. But they find a way. They find a way. And it's that ability to continue to find a way, as it were. It's that ability, it's that quality, which about 4 or 5 weeks ago now made me look at the situation and just say, I know there's a lot of rivals. I know there's a lot of people that sort of write Liverpool off at every juncture, but you just can't. You can't write them off. You can't say that they're not in this title race. You can't say that they won't win the league. Yes, you can come out with the really boring bit of analysis at the moment. Oh, but City are the favourites. We know City are the favourites. Every single one of us watching knows that Man City are the favourites, but it doesn't mean Liverpool are not in the race. It doesn't mean they don't have a chance. And they again today, when they were not at their best, won like champions. And I think you can go through 1 game, 2 games, 3 games where you're sort of winning and you don't necessarily deserve it until you can't call it luck. It's just how this team is. They will outscore nearly every single team they come up against, especially at Anfield. And there was a little bit of pressure on this game. There was a little bit of pressure because City had just won. City had put themselves top of the league. And there is no room for failure or mistakes now. Between now and the end of the season, every single drop point, every single conceded goal, every single mistake on the pitch is going to be rightfully analysed because it could cost you. That's how tight this season is going to be. And because there's 5 teams that are all in this race, with the favourites being City and 5th favourite being Aston Villa, in my humble opinion, even if you make a few too many mistakes in the title race, it could see you miss out on a Champions League spot. That's how tight this... You could have a brilliant season where you finish 7 or 8 points off the top of the league, which, by the way, has been second place in a lot of seasons, but you could come 5th and not get a Champions League position. That's how amazing this campaign is. And when I look at this Liverpool team, they are in it until the end. Jota, absolute bagsman. He's a finisher. He's a sniper. Yes, a mistake from Trafford, clattering into his own player, but Jota had to anticipate, maybe someone misses it, it's going to come to me. And that's what brilliant strikers do. If Jota was replaced by a midfielder or by a defender, they wouldn't have headed the ball. Their instincts would have gone to head it, seen the goalkeeper coming, and maybe half stopped. And then you'd have seen them try and react too late. But he just goes, I'm going to go through my motions, go through my technique, and if I make contact, it goes in. And he did that. Brilliant from him. I thought the second goal, yes, there's a little bit of controversy surrounding it. Was there a foul on Ramsey in the build-up? The answer is yes. But this is where, Ramsey and Burnley did get punished for not diving. They did. Let's call it as it is. Let's be honest and let's be open. If it had grabbed his leg and rolled around on the floor, it may have got a foul in real time. It would have definitely been overturned by VAR. But he didn't, and he carried on. Therefore, proving that contact doesn't make it a foul. Because it didn't hurt him. He didn't even afterwards try and pretend like it hurt him. So therefore, not all bits of contacts are fouls. I think we've established that in that moment today, which proper football fans that have been watching it for a long time understand. We only really say all contacts are fouls when we're defending one of our players for diving. But you could argue today players have got to dive. You could throw this the other way and say players have now got to dive as you don't get what you deserve. And the third goal, look, Darwin Núñez will miss much harder chances, easier chances than that this season. That was a sublime header. The ball's kind of behind him. The way he had to arc his neck and twist his head to put it into the back of the net, kill the game off as well, by the way, was nothing short of spectacular. Nothing short of spectacular whatsoever. 3 well-deserved goals. A deadly, deadly team that appear for me, I haven't actually checked the stats on this, but they appear to score every single week. They are going to be pushing Manchester City right until the end. There is no doubt about it in my mind. City, look, 6 wins on the bounce. They've got that game in hand. They can go a point clear of Liverpool if they were to win that. But there's still got to be a game between the two of them at Anfield. And Liverpool, I know they lost to Arsenal. When I say that Liverpool don't look like dropping points, I'm excluding away games against other teams in the title race. But they've been away to Tottenham. I'm not sure if they've got to go away to Villa. I've got to check that. But they've been away to the Etihad. They've been away to Arsenal. Now, the only route for me, the one interesting one is what Man United effect is on Liverpool coming to Old Trafford. They should beat us. They're a better team than us right now. But we know that the biggest derby in the world, Man United versus Liverpool, can be an equaler. But they don't look like dropping points against anybody outside that top echelon title race bracket right now. They just don't. Even though they can see chances, you just know they're going to up the tempo, go down the other end, and score. It's as simple and as straightforward as that to me. A relentless, dangerous, potent team who intimidate every single opponent that they have. And for me, from the outside sort of watching in, it's annoying. I'm not going to lie. They annoy me. I'm jealous. They frustrate me. They make me, as I've already stated, they make me a little bit sick, if I'm being honest with you, because they're that goddamn good. They really, really are. And it annoys me to say it, but as you've seen me do with Arsenal, as you've seen me do with Man City many, many times, I've got to praise quality when I see it. I can't sit here and pretend that it isn't as good as we all see it to be. A shout out was way to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm not too sure why I would brought off at half time because I didn't have the commentary up by the time I turned the second half back on. But the most amount of assists in Premier League history for a defender at the age of 25, by the way, 25 years of age. The record he is going to set will probably never be equaled again, not in our lifetime, by a defender. If he's 25 and already done it, no one else is anywhere near him. Yeah, and he's going to go on for another 7-8 years, and he's going to continue to create opportunities and chances. An absolute quality performance from him. There's actually a comment here from Vibe that says Trent needs to fix up, otherwise he'll be the new Dele Alli. How is Jones better at right back than him? Got done by every winger he faces. But this is the thing, and I know Liverpool fans hate it when I say this, and this is never meant as a dig, but he's not a great defensive player. He just isn't. He has some really good games. He has some really good run of form, but it's not what he is. It just isn't. I think as he's now getting into his mid-20s, which, by the way, is normally when players come into their pomp, this is when I think there needs to be a development of his role where he's played further forward with less defensive responsibilities. You just want him playmaking. You just want him on that ball, feeding it into the box. That is what is absolutely dynamite at. You don't want... I look at it this way. If I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't want Trent in a defensive position. I wouldn't want Trent anywhere near defensive responsibilities. Why would you? Why would you ever want that? It genuinely makes zero sense to me for anybody to ever want that in any capacity. It really doesn't make any sense. But look, as I say, this Liverpool team is absolutely tip-top class. They're in this title race. Another painful day for us rivals. And it's what it is. It's another painful day for us rivals to watch you play. And Liverpool fans will probably, rip certain elements apart, nitpick. That's cool. That's great. It's your team. You're allowed to do it. Me as a rival watching, I'm just not nitpicking Liverpool anymore. I'm not nitpicking Liverpool anymore. Yes, they were comprehensively beaten by Arsenal, but that happens. That happens when you're playing other top teams. But when they come up against anybody else, they look formidable. Formidable. And they're in this title race until the end. Liverpool are still favourites for M3. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, brother. Media, Trent brought off as an injury precaution. Okay, that's what it was. It was for injuries. Oh, listen, maybe that's kind of what he means by the Dele Alli situation. He had a lot of injuries, but Yeah, look, it's only really been this season, isn't it? So I wouldn't be too stressed about it as of right now. Are the media going to call call out Spurs for celebrating? No, they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't call out Spurs for celebrating at all. But I understand why Arsenal fans will want the consistency to remain, but the consistency won't remain. We know why they're calling Arsenal out for it, because the journalists and the pundits that did that don't like you. So you'll get no consistency from that perspective. Jerome here is a Spurs fan, says Brighton outplayed us, no excuses, but we still found our way to win. See, I didn't see the game like that. Genuinely, I thought first 10 minutes they did. Then I felt like you dominated the game up until you scored a goal. You weren't having the clear-cut chances, but you were dominating the proceedings. I thought they were getting caught in possession all the time. I couldn't believe you didn't kill them. So I didn't think Brighton dominated you in that regard. I just think that when Spurs had the ball, they were wasteful. Then you scored, and Brighton came alive again. And then I would say for a 20-minute or so period, when did you score your first goal? I'm just checking here, your equalizer. That was 61 minutes. I would say about 65 minutes, maybe until injury time. Brighton, maybe then I felt with a better team. And then you won it. So, look, it's a lot of people on our panel on the Top 6 show last night called the game being like this. We thought there'd be a few more goals where it would ebb and flow, and maybe one team would nick it as opposed to either side running away with it. And it's very much what I think we all believed it would be. But listen, you've got to celebrate and love these last-minute winners. You guys are a team in transition. You're sitting fourth in the league. You're on the edge of this title race. I think Spurs fans should be absolutely over the moon this evening. Now we've taken 3 points from the game. Rivals will make excuses for Brighton, but we fought to get back into the game. Glad to see Son back as captain. And you did. And look, again, I think Spurs fans will criticize elements of their team. But honestly, I watched it and just thought you were wasteful, really, for large parts of the game. I think Brighton will kick themselves with some of the opportunities they created, opportunities more so than chances. And there was that one great chance that I think it was, I want to say it was Lamptey. It might have been Fat. I think I don't know who it was. I can't remember who it was that had the shot that just went wide. I'm looking here. I thought it was Lamptey, or it might have been Ansu Fati. Maybe it's Fati. It would make more sense for it to be Fati, right? It was up front. But they could have won it, and they'll kick themselves for that. It's not Spurs' problem. Afternoon, Terry, and everyone. We still got Mo Salah to come back in this team. It will be interesting with where new Liverpool manager will play Trent. Now up to Arsenal to respond. I think Arsenal will win 3-1. Yeah, massive day for Arsenal now because Spurs have closed the gap. Villa are playing afterwards and could close the gap. They don't want to lose ground now. So that West Ham Arsenal game tomorrow becomes absolutely gigantic, and I cannot wait. Are you going to watch the big game in Germany and Spain? Well, not while I'm working. I'm not. If they're on now, then no, because I work. I have to do my job. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, not do my job is what I do. Right, I'm bringing out the panel now to have their say, people. We've got Ram here. We've got Samuel. We've got Tom, Jacob, man like Will, all backstage ready to come on and have their say. We've got a few more super chats to jump into as well. We'll get the boys out first of all to have their say on their teams today. And I want to go to the Spurs boys first, if I can be honest with you. Jacob, what a way to win it at the death.
Yeah, I mean, Brennan Johnson, wasteful the entire time he came on the pitch, wasn't doing well defensively, had a moment there at the end. I thought, I didn't watch the replay, but I can't remember who played that pass into Richarlison, but really was just waiting the entire time, like, please don't mess this up. Richarlison laid a good ball to Sonny. Sonny with pinpoint sizzler across the ground. What more could you want to end off a match? Honestly, I'm going to say about 75 minutes of that match was really poor from us. We allowed Brighton to do what they wanted to do. We were giving the ball away very cheaply. I thought Mickey Van de Ven had a really rough first 25 minutes there. First half, would love to forget about it. Wasn't great. I thought Brighton had many chances to go up, 3-0, 4-0. Vicario kept us alive in it. So shout out to what I call the best keeper in the league, and I'll take that with some bias. But look, all 3 points, I love it. I absolutely love it. Sometimes this is kind of what we talked about last week, right, Terry, with Everton. a good side, a side that can compete eventually, wins these kinds of matches. It doesn't matter that we weren't great for about, I'd say 65% of that match. We got the job done at the end of the day. I would like to see better in all facets. The cheap giveaways, I mean, 2-3 passes on a counterattack and we're cut open. And that is indicative of something that's happened all season. So today I'm happy. Tomorrow I'll probably watch it with a little bit more scrutiny. At the end of the day, all I care about is 3 points. We got those. If we continue to do that, hey, we're building something nice, and I'm here to witness it. Love to see it.
I do have to say as well, I've cost myself £750 today because I had no bottle. So I had an accumulator, and the two teams on it that weren't winning were Spurs and Southampton. When Southampton went 4-3 up, I cashed out at 280 quid. When that'll be it. And I mean, I'm still up because it was a £3.50 bet, but. And then Spurs got that goal. That's what I was most gutted about today. That's like £750 off of £3.50, by the way. But
that's that's a good anchor right there.
It's still a good turnaround. I'm still happy with it to a degree. I'm just a little bit gutted. But no, it's all good.
Honestly, I'll be honest. There at the last bit, it didn't look like we were trying to do anything with it anyway. It was just one of those moments where last man punching, last man standing, and sometimes it wasn't pretty, man. It's hard to walk away really confident, really like, yeah, we did do the business. I mean, Luton put 4 past these guys, and we could barely get 2. I wanted to see us get more goals, but you know, it was a fun match from a neutral's perspective, I would assume. Not so much from a Tottenham perspective because we were really getting pressured the entire match. Not good enough, but got the win. I'm still a happy man.
I hear you. Will, do you echo that in terms of the way the game went?
I mean, the game for me, they pretty much controlled the first 45, 50 minutes. I mean, we had moments in the first half, but nothing that really, stood out to me and said, hey, we're going to get something from this game. Again, it just comes down to the quality. And for whatever reason, I don't understand why Postecoglou is giving these guys who came back over 7 days ago time on the bench. It's not like they've been injured and they're not match fit. They've played more matches over the last 2 or 3 weeks than the guys that have. I think 7 days is enough to get your sleep schedule straightened out. And then once that's straightened out, why aren't you playing? Because I don't understand why Richarlison, Timo Werner, and all these guys are still on the side when Basuma, Son, and those guys are back and have been back for the better part of a week. These are professional athletes, not businessmen, right? They can recover a lot faster than the normal guy. But then you saw those guys come in off the bench, and there was a change in pace. I mean, just the crowd alone when Son walked on the pitch was enough to let you know how much us as a team have missed him as a player, and just being in the side altogether. And you saw some change there when he came on, and that was a brilliant ball across the face of the box. Again, Richarlison, regardless of the fact that he's been scoring a few goals here and there while Son's been out, is I thought was the most wasteful for me in that first half. How many times did he give away the ball very easily in their box for no apparent reason other than he's just not good?
Yeah, I hear you on that, and I agree. Listen, I don't think these millionaire players have any excuses, even for jet lag, because they fly in private jets where they have literal double beds where they can sleep, and they can plan it at a time where they can sleep, and their cycle isn't met. It's not like us having to fly coach and commercial where sometimes you got to leave at stupid o'clock in the morning. Like I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that's an excuse for rich people personally. But I hear you. But you picked up the 3 points today, Alan. How are you feeling afterwards? Buzzing with the win, or frustrated with the lack of cutting edge at times?
I'm happy with the win because it's 3 points. This is why I was so down about the Everton game, because if we go over the line in that game, an extra 2 points, the bridge to the people behind is so much better. But in this game, I was much better happier with obviously getting the 3 points. Look, I agree with Will to the point that 45, maybe even 50 minutes of the game, Brighton were the better team. We were disjointed, no killer ball, no obviously. Although you got Maddison in the team, I don't think he's been at his best, obviously, since he's come back. Not being clinical enough. I honestly think that once we got that first 5 minutes after the break, we got into our groove. We had Brighton pinned back. We were doing everything like that. We got the equaliser. And I think Ange made a massive mistake in making 3 changes at that point. Make this change in bringing Son on for Werner, because I don't think Werner had his best game, and then keep the same as it is. Because as soon as he made that change, yep, the crowd was up for it, and we were all like, and everyone was excited to have these players back. But I think we made too many changes and enabled Brighton to come onto us and dictate the game. I think if he makes one change, the Son on for Werner, which I thought was going to happen. I thought once the goal goes in, he's going to tell everyone else sit down and bring on Son. But I think he made too many changes, gave Brighton the impetus to come at us, and we held on. And then we were clinical in the end. Will said, we had the cutting edge, we had the clinical edge to get over the line. We got the goal, we got the late goal, and it's going back to what we were doing early part of the season. Can we keep doing that? Who knows? I don't think you can always do that, but we need to be able to control games more. And I think the more this team plays together now that everyone's come back, I think you'll see Spurs do well. Obviously, we've got a really tough time of it in April, which we'll look ahead to later on. But as of now, these are the games we need to be getting all the points built up ahead of steam, ahead of that tough period. But we can't keep leaving everything to the last minute. We have to show improved, keeping a hold of the ball and making it count during the game. But yeah, again, that free substitution burst from Ange when we just equalised, I think actually derailed Spurs a bit and allowed Brighton to come onto us.
I disagree with that a little bit. I think the 3 subs was called for. It was necessary. We were flat. The Timo and Kulu were offering nothing on that way. I thought Kulu for the first part of the second half looked better than the first half, but that doesn't erase the lack of anything that he had really been offering. So I wasn't upset with the change. I felt like when Brighton was making that Ansu Fati change, that's when I was like, okay, I'm kind of ready to see someone else come on here because we're looking flat. We looked flat that entire match until that goal, and then we went back to being flat again. I don't think that is a product of Ange necessarily getting it wrong. And I find it strange. It's like every week it's, oh, he didn't make subs quick enough. Oh, he made too many subs. Oh, he did subs at this. It just, at a certain point, we're really trying to pick hairs out of a haystack, and it's to me, it was enough to get the 3 points. I felt like the starting 11, like Will said, we weren't with our strongest starting 11, and it showed. We were pretty bad for that first 45. We were pretty bad for parts of that second half there too. So I agree with most of the parts, except for that Ange got it wrong with the subs, or that the 3 subs was a problem. I thought that was necessary.
The 3 subs were a problem because the starting 11 wasn't the strongest starting 11, right? Like if you go with the starting 11 and then you're bringing those guys in off the bench, here to fill some dead legs or some tired bodies or something like that, or adjusting tactics where you feel like you need a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. It would be a difference. But he was forced to do that because most of his better players were sitting on the bench. Like I just want to see the midfield. I just want to see the band together. And now that the band's all healthy, the band needs to be together. The band needs to be playing. It needs to be Basuma, Bentancur, Madison in midfield. It needs to be Son, Kulusevski, and somebody else up top. Like we're still a man short in that front line, really, but that's what needs to be playing. We need to stop fiddling around with, Højbjerg's good enough, or Richarlison can play in that number 9 because he scored a couple goals in the last couple of months.
I would like, look, I agree you got to find the best 11 and go for it. But for me, I don't see how you can keep Sarr out of that team. I know he's young. He's not the finished article. This isn't me saying he's going to be this, that, and the other, but he is obviously improving through the season. The energy, the covering, the ball retention, the getting forward as well. He's an extra body going forward as well as defending. Yes, he's young. Yep, he's got a long way to go. He's not the finished article, but he is proving without a doubt that Conte got it wrong with him. Conte should have used him more, and he didn't. I think you'll see over this season. I think Bentancur is one of my favourite players for Spurs, but he's not played to the level that Sarr has. Granted, injuries has played a factor. I'm not denying that. Then he's played better than Basuma continuously over the season. Yes, Basuma hasn't been there the whole time being away, but let's not forget the red cards. Let's not forget the poor performances after the first 6 or 7 games. I think Sarr, for what he brings to this team, I think he is paramount to this team at the moment, considering form and everyone's where they are in recovery from fitness. And I think Sarr is a must to start in this team.
I think he's a good player. Like, I'm not saying he's a good player. I just don't think he's as good as the players that sit around him. And you got to remember that even under Conte, Bentancur was playing in a more forward position. He wasn't playing as a 6, right? He was playing as that box-to-box 8, getting into the box, taking shots from outside. That's how he got the goals that he got before he went out injured, that season. I think that we're basing it off of Bentancur's performances as a 6, but he's not a 6. He's a much more forward player, and I think that he brings more to the game than what Pape Matar plays. I don't think Pape Matar does a whole lot of things bad, but he doesn't do a whole lot of good things either, right? Like, yeah, he's got a couple of goals, but it's not because it's really just because the opportunities fell to him.
Yeah,
it's not like he created them himself like Bentancur does.
Well, he kind of created that first goal. I mean, it was the man playing him that the rebound led to him falling for him again. I think Pape Matar, I agree with Alan in the sense, I think Pape Matar has played well enough to say, this is my position, who's going to take it from me. I think Bissouma, Bentancur have both given us reasons to wonder who's really going to take that. In my opinion, I just think that I agree with Will in the sense I would start Bissouma, Madison, and Sarr. Those are the 3 midfield that we had when we were undefeated on our beginning of the run in the season. So I think that would lend me to believe that's our best 11 to start with. But I love Bentancur. I just think that he had one good game against United, and then it's like bad game. And I'm really actually curious because I was kind of torn, and the chat on my watch along was very torn about it. Alan and Will, who did you think was better or worse on the first half, Bentancur or Sarr? Because between the two, some people were saying Sarr, some were saying I thought Bentancur, his passing was bad, Sarr's passing was bad, but he was winning the ball back. But then Bentancur had a great chance that it was a great through ball that I think it fell to Richie and he couldn't do anything with it. Who did y'all think was better out of those two?
I think they were just the same. I mean, Pape Matar was on the ball more because he's on that right-hand side of the pitch, and that's where we tend to start the transition. But, I mean, their passing accuracy was about the same. The number of times they gave the ball away was about the same. The number of defensive actions was the same. There's not a whole lot really that separated the two of them. And you've got, but Bentancur he's more press resistant. He doesn't give the ball away in as many silly positions. Pape Matar for me just gives the ball away way too much.
Great conversation, guys. Viewers, love to get your take, your views, and your opinions on that. I want to say congratulations to Qatar, by the way, for becoming Asian champions this afternoon, beating Jordan 3-1 on the night. So commiserations to Hassam, who of course have just seen his nation lose that game. Tom, big win for Liverpool today, but so many comments coming through right now from Liverpool fans unhappy with the performance, saying how poor you were, only won an individual quality. It doesn't seem like Liverpool fans are happy to just won 3-1. Talk to me.
Well, it's not a good performance. Good result, not a good performance. A lot of I think that the last couple of games you started to see the squad really bare bones and really starting to struggle. And obviously we've again lost Trent today, which is good. But this time, unlike Arsenal, we weren't punished. Burnley should have went 3-2 up. That Fofana kid on loan from Chelsea missed 2 gilt-edged chances. Keller had his best game of the season. Keller has saved us a couple of times. And yeah, Klopp corrected his error by not starting Harvey Elliott, by bringing him on, and he changed the game for us. Ultimately, at this point, with the state the squad's in, we just need to get results. We don't need performances. We just need the results, and we've got the result. So we keep the pressure on, we keep the position there. But in terms of an overall performance, very few players can leave that pitch today feeling very, proud and very happy with how they played. I thought Robertson was decent, for the first start back. Elliott was obviously great when he came on. Wataru Endo was great after he got the after he got booked. Curtis Jones done a great job at right back as well as centre mid, and Diogo Jota is again showing his pure quality as one of the most underrated attackers in the Premier League. And it's nice, even though I think Diaz and Nunes both made questionable decisions. Diaz especially, I don't get why he didn't play Nunes in that one moment. But it's nice to see the front three all get the goals today. They've turned up a point without Salah, so we've managed to get through this period pretty much unscathed. But hopefully, the return of Szoboszlai, the return of Salah, getting Gomez and Alisson back, or getting the majority of the core back will hopefully improve performances, because today, on another day, we don't leave with the 3-1 win. The result, you could argue, flatters us just a little bit, but it's nice to see that the fringe players and the players who've had to step in for us today have turned up despite the issues in the squad. If you're looking at starters who'd be playing, we were missing our goalie, our centre-back, our left-back, our right winger, and our best central midfielder this season. So, we have been operating on a little bit of a shorter string, but we've pulled through, which is a good thing. So hopefully the injuries start to slow down, so we can get a bit more of a consistent core together. But who knows with us? It'd be just our luck if they kept going. But the one thing this year is we've got a squad that can compete. So not a great performance, but a good result. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
I'm not going to lie. I'm probably sitting here in the mud, beautiful skin because of the mud, listening to you Spurs fans and Liverpool fans winning games and moaning, and just think, excuse my French, you spoilt fucking brats. That's all that's going through my head right now. You're sitting here depressed after winning football matches. Tom, it's your birthday as well, right? Cheer up. Cheer up,
This
and
is
I'll buy you a haircut.
birthday? Wow, he sounds like he's going to school later or something.
Ram, what did you make of it today? LFC, My Religion here says, before negativity speaks, top of the league in every comp, just enjoy, please. Is that how you feel, or is the performance frustrating you today?
I'm happy. Like, we're top of the league. Of course I'm going to be happy. We won. So we won. I won't say it's convincingly, but we won by a convincing manner. We got 3 goals in. Obviously, we didn't get a clean sheet, but like Tom said, I'm not going to paper over the cracks, because I saw what I saw. We were dead. We were poor. I can't not say that we deserved to at least, for Burnley not to deserve to get a couple more goals. Like, they had 2 1v1s, which Fofana messed up. Big up Keller for making a couple of saves. But it still doesn't change the fact that we weren't great. But how many times have we said it? Champions win when they don't play well. And that's what we got to do. But I think this sort of period that's coming up for Liverpool will be our toughest period. This will be what Man City had at the start of the season. And this will be what Arsenal had in December. Because we didn't play well against Arsenal. We got battered by Arsenal. We've got to be honest about it. And we didn't play well here. But the one thing that Arsenal and City failed to do was ride out the wins. They couldn't keep their heads against Crystal Palace. They ended up drawing that game. And Arsenal lost against Fulham and lost against West Ham as well. So what we got to do is just try and get as many wins as possible, because our run of games up until the City game, I think we got Brentford away, which has never been an easy game for us. We've always lost or drew against them.
We've never won at that stadium. So.
Yeah, we've never won at that stadium. So the next couple of games are going to be tough. But if we get, say, a couple wins and we play poorly during all those games, I'm going to be happy. I just want to be in more or less 2 points or in touching distance of Manchester City when they come to Anfield, and still have the opportunity to control what we can do in this league title chase. And at the end of the day, even if we play poorly, I'm still going to celebrate. We're top of the league. Like, let's be honest, we're top of the league. We won 3-1. I'm going to have a happy weekend. Come on, West Ham. Beat the Gooners. Then we'll see you next week. That's all I've got to
say. Sam, do you echo this? What's your thoughts on things?
Sorry, I do apologize for the flashing. I've got the Girona game, and then I've got the Bayer Leverkusen game as well.
Yeah, I've got the same. I've got the same, and Newcastle. I've got all 3 up. Satanta Sports, baby, via NordVPN. $2.99 a month for all of it. Love it.
Love it. Shout out there. But yeah, no. Again, I'm gonna get the negative out of the way. This was probably a rubbish performance by us. But here's the positive. I've always said Liverpool are gonna lose sometime this season. We're not gonna go the league unbeaten since the Tottenham loss. Like we're gonna lose. It's about how we bounce back the game after. Now, yes, it was a rubbish performance, but I'm glad we got the win, because there's been many times with other teams that are in the title race where they've lost the game and they've...
Just like you lost your signal.
It's all on games. He's streaming. It's all on games.
Am I still here?
You're still there.
Barely.
Yeah.
You're still there. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, it just went blank for me. But yeah, literally, all I wanted to focus on was really us bouncing back from that poor performance against Arsenal. Now with Arsenal, yes, we got battered all over the park, but I just said, you know, it was a bad day for us. It was a bad day for us. This game, I could see a little bit of what we were doing against Arsenal, and I wasn't happy with it. But 3-1 win, you go on and move to the next game. You put pressure on the guys that are below you right now, Man City and Arsenal, and maybe even, as you said, Tottenham and Aston Villa to keep up with us. And the most important thing is literally, we've won.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, we're getting a little bit of feedback from a few people there. Look, I agree with you completely. I look at it from the perspective of we're getting very close to the run-in now. Very, very close to the run-in. Winning is the most important element at this stage. I suppose that's why I'm sitting here and I've watched Spurs win a last-minute game, seeing you guys bounce back after the Arsenal defeat, and it's very subdued. It's very, yeah, it's okay. I know maybe nobody wants to get called out like Arsenal fans for over celebrating, but you got to enjoy these moments. 2-0 Newcastle. No, is that one? Oh, that's the repeat of the goal. Sorry. So what's a goal that was?
You just got to be realistic about it, Terry. You
But
just got to be real about it.
You can be realistic, but you're meant to enjoy winning games. And what's happening? This happened 2 seasons ago in the fan sphere, where everybody's become scared of celebrating wins. And then last year it started to pick up again. And this year everyone's, we've won a game and I'm scared to say I'm happy with one. You can criticize things, but there's barely been a smile. It's like I'm at a funeral.
Terry, do you know, I will celebrate a lot more if we beat Brentford away. Next week. I don't care. No, but Terry,
look at the
preview. Look at the preview that you had, yeah? Did you expect Liverpool to beat Burnley?
Terry? Does Liverpool to beat Burnley? Yes. Why?
Yeah, because, and obviously we beat them in a manner which wasn't convincing, but we still got the win. So it's obviously going to be a little bit subdued. If we battered them like 5 or 6-0, then it would be like, job done. You know how it is. Everyone was sick. But it was the fact that we allowed a team like Burnley, who we should be beating comfortably, to come to our gaff and create a load of chances, which they should be burying
that's also
away.
kind of like nothing new. A lot of teams have done that to us this season. I think with me, I'm just subdued because the Trent injury stuff is annoying, because I think he's been one of our best players this year. He's come back. We haven't used him properly. Now he's injured again. So that's a kick in the teeth. But you know, with our right hand side, which is so important, we've got none of them fit at the minute. It's a bit annoying when I'm looking at us chopping and changing every time. I think there was a couple of things he got wrong today. I'm happy that we won, and I'm in exactly the same boat. You need to win at this point. I wouldn't care if we were the worst team in every game we played from this point on, but we won. If we got bashed, if we rode our luck, this, that, and the other, as long as we won, that's all that matters. I don't care about, you know, smashing a team 5-0, playing liquid football. I don't care at this point. I need wins. I need points on the board. The qualms and the concerns are, how many more times can we do this? How many more saving graces have we got? Because Harvey Elliott saved us today. I thought he was absolutely exceptional off the bench. I thought he should have started anyway, because he's the only player who on the right actually holds a bit of width. And you saw it today when McAllister looked lost because he didn't know how to hold width. Jota's never going to hold width, because why would you want your best goal scorer to be out wide? Especially when he's not left-footed, so he can't, you know, create from there. So we end up chucking one of the best creative players in the Premier League out wide on the touchline where he can't get involved in the game as much. Elliott should have started for that reason. He then comes on. Obviously, we lose Trent at that point. But Jones was then able to do the more traditional Trent role, which is coming inside, dictating the game, giving you a numerical advantage. And Shock, we started to get a little bit more dominant. Yeah, they had a bit of a run where they had a couple of chances, and Kelleher had his best game of the season today. A number of really good saves. That's more so the Kelleher that I know from years gone by. Hopefully, you can keep riding this form through to the Carabao Cup final, which he's going to play. But it just didn't feel right today at parts. The midfield just didn't. It all just felt a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow. Yeah, it just felt like we've been rising through the gears, and now the car's had a little bit of a shake, and now we're back down a couple of gears again. And we've got to try and get through those gears a little bit quicker than we've done earlier this season, because we do have a lot of big games coming up for us, and the full focus for the club has to be on getting to that City game, winning all these games before, and making sure that they go into that game knowing it's a pretty much, we have to win that game. If we can get a good run of form going into that with a cup final win and all the league games won, then I'm a lot more confident. But right now, some of the concerns that we have from the Arsenal game weren't fixed today. Some of the concerns were, which is good, but some of them were still there, and that's probably the question. And that's probably where the bit of disillusionment is. And I know we had an illness. I know we had an illness run through the squad today, but it affected two players. It affected Gomez, and Alisson, and Robertson was one of our better players. So that wasn't even a bad one.
I do get it. I just have this feeling. It's not even about Liverpool. I just have this feeling that Standard FC have corrupted football. And what I mean by that is because City are the favourites to win, and because they didn't drop points today, it's just almost as if people are not. It's like people can't be happy with their side. And I get everyone wants to win the trophies, but that's never how football's been up until very, very recently, in the sense of we've always wanted to win the trophies. But as long as we're competing for them, we know we're a very good team. We're going to be doing it again next year. So you kind of enjoy the ride. And if you don't win, you're like, I'm gutted. But what's some great games, some great wins, some ups and downs. We go again next year. That seems to have, I don't know, maybe it's a little different for Liverpool fans right now with Klopp leaving, but that seems to have disappeared from football. It's all, if we're not winning things this year, I'm just going to be miserable until we get there. I'm not saying you men have been overly miserable, but I just find an interesting reflection now of how fans react to even win some days. I just don't ever remember feeling like that, even when my team was competing.
This is why I said personally that, with our eyes, it's a poor performance, but I'm happy with the win. Again, like every point that we pick up now helps us towards the end of the season. So we can nitpick with certain things, but sometimes you're not gonna have good games. So to show that you're not gonna have a good game, but you're still winning, is only a positive for me. We just need to sort it out against Brentford. I think it's next week, and then so that they can't pick us off. But I'm happy. I'm happy with it. Especially after that performance against Arsenal, I'm happy with this.
The big ones are the ones against you got Brentford next, then you've got Luton midweek in between the Brentford game and the cup final. And obviously we had a poor result against Luton earlier on this year, and Brentford's been a team that we've always struggled against away from home. We drew the first year, we lost last year. Those are the games where if we leave them with wins, it's a lot happier. There was an expectation that you get past Burnley today. Ideally, if you were to pick any team to play in the Premier League to bounce back against after a loss, it would be Burnley at home, because they give you chances, because they sit so far forward. And maybe it's a bit of we should have done more, because we are a team that benefits massively against high lines, but we never really got anything going in that sense today. And it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I'm happy about the win, obviously, because it puts us back top of the table. It puts the pressure on everyone else. And let's be honest, as good as City are, they're not winning every single game to end the season. They're not going on a 20-game winning run.
Put it past them. I said that last time I said that, they won every single game. They're
not winning every single game. They might not lose, but they're not winning every single game. And the same way, we probably won't. But we just need to make sure that we are in there. We need to make sure that we are in there with a chance. And even then, the league wasn't the league when you're going into the season. It wasn't the expectation. No, no one
I do,
expected
I do understand that, boys. I want to read this comment out. It says, Terry, why are you surprised with our reaction? We are competing versus City. You know how we lost two league titles. We must be perfect. And recently we haven't been. But you weren't perfect in the years that you won things either. There were times where you, even in that season where you won the league and you ran away with it, there's many a game where I did the match reactions where it was like, got through that one. Now, I want to say something. We have lost sight of enjoying the journey. And the journey to a goal is often where either the team itself and fans included experience growth and learning. And it's where you gain those meaningful experiences. It's, without trying to sound cheesy, it's like you embark on an adventure every single year where you encounter setbacks, ups and downs, challenges, triumphs, and everything. And these experiences shape us. They make us who we are as a fan base. They build resilience. They build deeper understandings. And the journey is often where you discover your love for your team, connections with other fans, where you create your memories. So for me, this idea of not embracing it, this idea of not enjoying the milestones and not enjoying wins because you still may not win the league, I genuinely believe you are taking so much joy out of the game. I don't actually believe there's much point in you watching it. It's like saying, I'm not going to enjoy any part of a movie or a TV series just in case I don't like the final scene or the final moment. Imagine something's a 5-season box set. I'm not enjoying one single episode. I'm not smiling or laughing at a joke until we get to the last moment to make sure I like the ending. That's a crazy logic. And with football, it doesn't actually end at the end of that season. I think football fans have got to start enjoying the journey so much more. And yes, you might lose next week. Yes, City might win the next 10 games on the bounce and you don't win the league. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy these individual games. Otherwise, in my humble opinion, stop watching football. Go do something else. But that's just me. That's just me personally. But 1-0 to, is it 1-0 Leverkusen? I just see that goal. Good goal.
It's two. Wait. Oh, sorry, my bad. They put up 2 shots on target for Real Madrid.
Ah, okay. And Real Madrid are one up as well, aren't they? Vinicius Junior.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, I feel like it's fans. They're afraid of the tag bottling. I feel like that's what they're afraid of. So it's kind of like they will hold their water until the end of the season to see what it is. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Terry. This is why I'm enjoying the wins. I'm enjoying the wins that even though when we're not playing well, listen, that's a good sign. But I wanted to speak a little bit more on the tactics, and I've realized I've seen certain things about the 3 teams, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal, that right now that can actually separate each of each other. Now, there's been some similarities between Man City and Liverpool. Now, Liverpool and Man City are beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. The teams where they're faltering against are actually the top 6 teams. Now, Arsenal are actually doing well against the top 6 teams. However, the teams that they're supposed to be, they're actually faltering against them. And you can see from Man City, the top 6 teams, the only team that they've beaten is, I think it's Man United when they beat you 3-0. Believe that. And the only top 6 team that we have beaten is actually Chelsea when we beat them recently 4-1. And if you look at the rest of the teams that we're supposed to beat, we're doing the job against them. But Arsenal, on the other hand, they're doing very well against the top 6 teams. They've beaten Man City, they've beaten Liverpool, they've beaten I can't remember another team that they've beaten, but they've been picking a lot of points for this against the top 6. But against the teams that they're supposed to be beating, they're faltering against them, like the Fulham, like the West Ham, like in some other games as well. So I just thought that was a little bit interesting. That I believe that the league will be won again with the team that really does well against the top 6. Really does well against the top 6.
Yeah, mate, I think that's a great observation. That there's, as you said, there's weaknesses and problems with everybody, even the best team, Man City. And I think it's an interesting watch. As I just say to people, though, I just think that I haven't experienced a title race in 10 years, and I'm desperate to properly experience one again. I know we've come second twice, but we were never really in the race beyond sort of especially in the Jose year. We were with them until about November and then fell away. But you've got to enjoy the ebbs and the flows. And I remember being at a lot of those games when we were at title races, and you'd be in the pub before and you'd be in the pub after, and no one was in the pub. Genuinely, like, you don't have to drink. We did, but nobody was in the bar afterwards. Nobody. We used to go out for dinner a lot afterwards. Nobody was out eating food afterwards and saying, yeah, but you know what? I care about stats, by the way, but nobody was looking and going, yeah, but you know, we our pressure resistance wasn't as good today, and I'm worried about the next game, and that means that we could lose that. Everybody was just enjoying that moment. You move on to the next game later in the week when you start, in our world, when you start previewing it. But in that moment, enjoy it, and so you don't need to concern yourself so much with what's coming in the next game. I just find it, I'm not going to lie, as the host of a show where we talk to fans, I find it a little bit depressing. And this isn't you two. I find it a little bit depressing that we have people that come on after their teams have great wins. Oh my God, that would have been such a good goal. Oh my days, what a volley. So yeah, that's just me. Yeah, no, I hear that. Boys, look, I want to say a big thank you to you both for coming on today. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. By the way, you can sign up now to NordVPN, still available. I know a lot of people have today. They're checking out Setanta Sports because they now have multi-view available. So you can have up to 4 games on at one time on Setanta Sports on their desktop application. So that's $2.99 a month. Get it done, people. But you need a VPN provider first. So sign up to Nord, and it's all legal. So you're not going to have anyone knock on your door and tell you you've been illegally streaming, because it isn't. You're paying for it, and there's no law against using a VPN. Listen, until next time, my people, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.